Coming up tonight on MUTV News Monday, just how safe are you while on campus? MUTV News' Peter Bosch has some answers.
Plus, watch out, your parents might be able to see your grades. We'll tell you why. All that plus weather and sports. MUTV News Monday starts right now.
This is your campus news source, MUTV News.
And I'm Max Hess. In our top story tonight, from 300 blue light phones to 12 limos, Marquette does not take the safety of their students for granted. MUTV News' Peter Bosch looked into our campus safety system.
Faces a predominantly larger problem in regard to crime than most other suburban campuses. Because of this serious problem, student safety is the #1 concern our university has. At the most recent Father Pilar's Forum, Marquette's president, Father Pilars, when asked about campus crime prevention, boldly stated that student safety is the primary baseline concern. But do students feel safe on our campus?
I do feel very safe on campus. I didn't have any problems last year when I was walking around. I lived in O'Donnell, so that's a bit further out, and some people are worried about that. But also, there's the limo service. You can use the limo service at night. It's available. You might as well do it.
I think safety is you know, at least partly the responsibility of those people involved, right? So we don't go places by ourselves. You know, we do these kinds of things. When you know we're in an urban environment, and you know, and things happen, and but I do appreciate also the email reports that we get. So yeah, I think I do feel safe on campus.
Our #1 deterrent of crime on campus is the Department of Public Safety. Annually, the department releases a report concerning security and fire safety. Some statistics worth mentioning from the 2012 report include 0 robberies occurring in campus residence halls and only 3 on campus over the last 3 years. The most reassuring statistic is that only 2 crimes have been reported off campus since 2009. But how is crime prevention stacked up this year compared to last?
Last year, during the beginning of the year, there was a huge crime kind of spree that started. That didn't happen this year, so DPS really did step it up. So I actually feel that this year's a little bit better for crime than it has been.
I think crime has actually been a little better because we've been cracking down more rules have been enforced. People aren't going around like dorms taking stuff. I mean, personally, I had stuff taken from me last year, so I mean, I think it's been safer.
As a final assurance of student safety, DPS is in coordination with the Milwaukee Police Department. MPD has various vehicles and bicycles constantly patrolling the campus area. If you ever feel unsafe, make sure to immediately call DPS at one of the numbers listed below or one of the 300 blue light phones located throughout the campus. A simple 911 call will get you in touch with MPD immediately as well. Reporting from the Department of Public Safety, Peter Bosch, MUTV News.
A member of the Marquette family was lost recently, and a memorial service will be held for Dr. Eufema Femi Sanchez de la Calle on Friday, October 12th. She was the director of the Marquette in Madrid program. The memorial will be held at 4 p.m. in the AMU Chapel of the Holy Family. After, there will be a service gathering with light refreshments. Marquette described the 12-year employee as a remarkable teacher, colleague, friend, mentor, and director.
This year, MUSG is leading a cause to get students registered to vote. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday until the 16th, students can register in the AMU from noon until 2 in front of Rayner from 7 to 9, where there will be registration officials. Now, you can also vote in residence halls where certified student monitors can help register students. The goal of the drive is not only to register voters, but to encourage voter turnout, as well as inform people about the election. Well, have your parents ever told you that if they're paying the bills for college, they should be allowed to see your grades? Now they can, that is if you want them to. The Office of the Registrar has announced that students wishing to provide their parents access to grades in checkmark will be able to. Students will be able to allow parents to gain guest access information available on the site. Parents will be given a special access login. Well, tonight, a documentary with a Marquette connection will air across the country on PBS. College of Communications professor Danielle Beverly, as well as several Marquette students, have helped produce the film called As Goes Janesville. The film chronicles the challenges faced by residents of Janesville following the closure of a General Motors plant in the city. The film will air tonight on PBS's Independent Lens at 10 p.m.
Well, this week, the Office of International Education will present a film about women empowerment and youth in Cuba. Filmmaker Catherine Murphy will introduce her film Maestra on Wednesday at 7:30. The film follows personal stories about youth and adults involved in the movement to educate Cubans on issues of gender, racial identity, and equality. The viewing will take place on the 4th floor of Holthusen Hall. Well, if the stress of midterms is starting to take a toll on your sanity, take some time to relax with a massage. Marquette's Physical Therapy is once again offering its Massageathon. It costs just $7 for 15 minutes. You can make an appointment or walk in, so find some time to relax today. And coming up after the break, new numbers have President Obama in the lead. Plus, a Milwaukee suburb is experiencing a spree of crime. That and much more. MUTV News will be right back. Well, President Obama's lead in Wisconsin has dropped to only 2 points after last Wednesday's debate. Only 2 weeks ago, Obama led Romney by 7 points. 61% of the people agreed that Romney won the debate. This news boosts the spirit of the Republican Party as the vice presidential debate is set for this Thursday.
Well, Republican VP candidate Paul Ryan was back here in Wisconsin on Saturday helping the GOP and his running mate Mitt Romney at a fundraising event. The event was held at the Pfister where tickets ranged from $1,000 to $10,000. Ryan discussed the importance of members of the GOP voting for Romney and expressed confidence about the Republicans winning the state's 10 electoral votes in November. Wisconsin Republicans haven't won a presidential race since Ronald Reagan in 1984. Ryan spent the weekend at his hometown, Janesville, and continued on the fundraising trail Sunday in Chicago.
Well, Frontier and Delta Airlines both vacated Concourse E, leaving United as the only tenant. If United decides to leave now, it would have a negative effect on Milwaukee's industry. Jay Sorensen, an airline consultant, suggests that if the economy improves, then vacating the concourse will give the county the chance to save on expenses of the TSA. If United leaves and the concourse shuts down, there will be an opening for an airline agency to have an entire concourse by itself. Well, police in Shorewood are warning residents to exercise caution and lock their doors following a string of break-ins. Authorities say that 8 homes have been broken into since last week. The burglars have made off with wallets, purses, and household electronics. Police in North Shore communities have also reported a recent uptick in crime.
Pedal Tavern has had some controversial changes made. City of Milwaukee is enforcing a law that prohibits open containers on streets. Businesses throughout the Third Ward are concerned that the new law will have a negative impact on them, as the taverns have brought tremendous business. The owners of the Pedal Tavern argue the law does not apply to them, stating that Pedal Taverns are a, quote, green-powered limousine. Out of 300 tours left this season, the Pedal Tavern has already seen a 10% cancellation rate. Well, coming up, meningitis continues to spread throughout the United States, and workers on the iPhone 5 assembly line are on strike. MUTV News Monday will be right back.
Ashley Youssef, the man behind the film Innocence of Muslims, is expected to be in court Wednesday. This film led to violence in the Middle East and the death of the U.S. ambassador to Libya, Christopher Stevens. Youssef had 8 violations, including lying to his probation officers. His fate lies in the hands of a federal judge in Los Angeles. The 55-year-old was determined a flight risk and remains in custody without bond. Jordan Vandersloot, the man convicted of killing Natalie Holloway, has announced that he is going to be a father. Vandersloot is currently serving time in a Peruvian prison for murder. The 28-year-old says that he impregnated the woman during a recent conjugal visit. The woman is yet to publicly confirm the pregnancy. Vandersloot is currently appealing his conviction.
Thousands of factory workers at Foxconn went on strike Friday to protest working conditions on the iPhone 5's production lines. Production line froze management enacted overly strict demands of the workers. Workers were told to make their own precisions down to increments as small as 0.02 of a millimeter. Apple ordered stricter inspections after customers were complaining over aesthetic flaws. Workers and inspectors engaged in some fights, and some things turned physical. Production freeze lasted about an hour, and work has not yet resumed. Other news, a fungal meningitis outbreak has been spreading throughout the country, affecting 47 people in 7 states. The death toll has remained stationary at 7 after it was discovered a certain steroid contaminated with fungus as the main cause. A precaution measure of the FDA has asked doctors, clinics, and consumers to discontinue the use of any products by the New England Compounding Center, which produces the steroid.
The legalization of marijuana will be on the ballot in 3 states this November. Oregon, Colorado, and Washington state residents will vote on the legalizing of marijuana for recreational use. The voter initiative would legalize up to 1 ounce of pot in the 3 states. Legal or not, marijuana would be barred from youth. 9 heads of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration sent a letter to the Attorney General to urge against the legalization, but there has been no response. Authorities in Florida are investigating the cause of death for a man who died while being part of a roach eating contest. 32-year-old Edward Archbold collapsed in front of the reptile store where the contest was being held. He was then taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police say several other contestants ate insects, but none of them became ill.
After the break, we will have a look at your weather. That's next on MUTV News.
Welcome back to MUTV News. I'm Rachel Landgraf, and we're going to have a look at the weather today. It turned out to be a pretty nice day. I know this morning for my 8 a.m. class it was a little cold, but now you can see the temperatures at 58 degrees with a dew point of 26. The humidity is at 31%, with a barometer reading of 29.94 inches, with winds coming from the south-southwest at 19 miles per hour. So not bad. Our highest temperature today was at 61 degrees, probably around noon. Our lowest was at 48, probably when I was walking to my 8 a.m. class. On average, the high was 48 degrees with a low of 42. On record, it was 85 in 2007, and it was the lowest with 29 degrees. Now a look at our nation. In California, we have 68 degrees, up in Washington, 70. Over in Colorado, we have 72, down in Houston, Texas, 75, pretty warm. In Illinois, we have 57 degrees, in Tennessee, 59, in Atlanta, Georgia, with 56 degrees, and up in Minnesota, 63, and over there we have 52 degrees. And a look at our state today, Eau Claire was a city to break into the 60s at 62, Wausau with 57, as well as Madison. In Green Bay, we saw 58, and again in Milwaukee, we have 58 degrees, so not bad. Tonight, it's mostly cloudy, high of 48, with winds coming from the south-southwest at 23 miles per hour, so pretty windy. And tomorrow, for our 9 a.m. classes, it's going to be windy and a little rainy, so bring your umbrella and rain boots. High of 62 degrees with winds coming from the southwest at 23 miles per hour, so pretty windy. And a look at our 5-day forecast. On Wednesday, it is going to be a high of 52, partly cloudy, with a low of 45. Thursday, again, partly cloudy, high of 64, low of 39. Friday, pretty clear, high of 50, low of 43. Saturday, rainy, again, bring your rain boots, high of 64 with a low of 52. And on Sunday, another chance of rain with a high of 64 degrees and a low of 41 degrees. So, again, bring your rain boot, raincoat, umbrella this weekend. It's going to be a little rainy. Not bad, though. I would say a pretty okay weekend, mostly in the 60s. And I think that's all we have for right now. So up next, we're going to have Travis Smith with sports.
Hi, and welcome back to MUTV News. I'm Travis Smith with your Monday Sports Update. Well, the MLB postseason kicked off this weekend after the first ever wild card play-in games resulted in the St. Louis Cardinals and Baltimore Orioles making their way to the final 8 teams. So far, the Detroit Tigers, led by Triple Crown winner Miguel Cabrera, are up 2-0 on the Oakland Athletics after a walk-off sacrifice fly by Dan Kelly secured their second win on Sunday. The New York Yankees piled on 5 runs in the top half of the inning last night to break a 2-2 tie and take the first game in their series against Baltimore. In the National League, the Cincinnati Reds have cruised to a 2-game lead over the San Francisco Giants, while the Cardinals and Washington Nationals are knotted up at 1 game apiece. In the NFL, the Packers took on the Colts Sunday afternoon in Indianapolis, looking to take down young Andrew Luck and his rebuilding franchise. The game was a tale of two halves and did not turn out the way most Green Bay fans had hoped for. The Packers struck often and early, beginning with this, and built a 14-3 lead over the Colts until this slant pass to Randall Cobb made it 21-3 going into the second half. What looked like an insurmountable lead was soon broken as Luck stepped up, firing multiple touchdown passes and rushing for this 3-yard score to shrink the lead to 21-19. A Colts field goal put them ahead by 1 until the Pack retook the lead with this 8-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers to James Jones in the back of the end zone. However, Luck promptly marched Indianapolis down the field to hook up with Reggie Wayne in the very last couple seconds of the game, who just barely stretched the ball over the goal line to put the Colts ahead. The 2-point conversion afterward put the Colts 3 points ahead, forcing the Packers to have to kick a field goal to tie the game. Rodgers marched the team down the field, but however, as time expired, Mason Crosby's kick sailed left of the goalposts. This left the Green Bay Packers suffering in defeat. They are now 2-3 and off to their worst start since 2008. Well, the amazingly undefeated Marquette men's soccer team took on second-ranked UConn Saturday night in what was sure to be their biggest challenge up to this point in the season. Senior Andy Hufftelin notched 2 goals and helped the Golden Eagles topple the Huskies with a final score of 3-2. Marquette, which was ranked number 9 entering Saturday night, has now improved to 11-0 on the season and has moved up to 3rd in the national rankings. They take on Northern Iowa tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Valley Fields. Hopefully another win is in the books and we can keep building on that undefeated record. And that's all for sports. When we come back, we'll have the end of the show.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, how far are you willing to go for $1? Well, one guy in New York City decided that he was going to be licking the handrail of a subway station for that $1. The act has led him to become a YouTube sensation, but medical professionals are warning against copycats. Doctors say that the handrails just might be some of the dirtiest places in the city. So be sure to think twice before you decide to lick a handrail on a subway.
I would say that's good advice. After having just spent 3 months navigating the subway system and riding it every day, I can say that that was the first time. I'm never like a Purell kind of person, but that was one time where I was like, you know what, I got to carry this around. So that just hearing that story is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you can relate to it. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Ryan over here actually interned for Fox in New York. So
and got to ride the subway every day. So it was fun when it's 100 degrees, you know.
So if I was like, Ryan, I'm going to give you $1 if you lick that handrail, would you do it?
I don't think I'd do it for $1 million.
Good.
I don't think I would
Good
do it at
choice.
all.
Have you ever done anything like that, Max?
You know, I can't think of a certain event where I took $1 for doing something disgusting like that. But, you know, I was thinking, I mean, this is pretty gross, but I'm pretty sure people have done a lot more gross things for $1.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's
I
pretty
can't
gross.
imagine.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, now that we've all taken away your dinner, your hunger for dinner, that's all we have tonight, Marquette. Have a good night. We'll see you back here on Wednesday.